Go to the bus ramp, park, go get them, and get back in as quickly as possible.
There wasn't even time for chaos.
It should be okay.
It really happened so quick, I couldn't really tell you.
With this split-second scare in the parent pickup line.
I was thinking I was dying, to tell you the truth about it.
Wind started blowing real hard.
Next thing you know, all our cars is up in the air.
Then the car flipped over beside me, landed on the car beside me, and the car in front of me.
Everybody was running around.
I didn't know all the other damage till I got out of the car.
When Erin Lewis got out, this is what she saw.
Oh, y'all, this is horrible.
9 vehicles moved around like matchbox cars.
After it was over with, it was just unbelievable.
The tornado touched down 2 minutes before Liberty Elementary let out.
2 minutes later, we could have had children everywhere out here.
8 people went to the hospital with minor injuries.
We are so grateful that the children were not out here.
And grateful for one adult in the middle of all of this.
He is definitely a hero in my book.
When I come back down, I got out of the truck and she was screaming, my baby, my baby.
He was basically climbing on top of cars like Spider-Man, just getting people out.
Scotty pulled a baby and 2 adults out of this before emergency crews arrived.
I mean, I didn't think about it. You know, I mean, it's just something, you know, your reaction take over, and had to do what I had to do.
And he did it with one arm.
That don't stop me.
The way Scotty tells it, he's not responsible.
I'm not no hero.
He credits someone else.
The most important thing was Jesus Christ was looking over everybody.
Finding a blessing in all of this.
It was very, very amazing that nobody was killed.
Grateful for what didn't happen.
I know you want to look, but I'm just telling you, if you see something, it'll be with you the rest of your life.
A firefighter's warning to the onlookers speaks of the devastating impact.
Boom, just like a stick of dynamite.
From his front porch, Dennis Justice saw it happen, and he felt it.
And after I saw inside the vehicle, I didn't want to look any further. 3
vehicles in all, at least 2 people dead, both teenagers. In this mess of a head-on collision Natalie Kaysen has seen coming for a long while.
It's just bad news.
The road often filled with middle and high school traffic.
People flying, taking their eyes off the road, swerving, going in and out of the lane. I mean, people go way too fast for this road.
There's been 5 deaths here since I've been living here.
Because of this, a community will live with the loss of family, neighbors, friends. Just a glance at it, summed up by that firefighter's warning.
Because your mind's going to take a picture of it, whatever it is, if you see it.
I was getting ready to mount a shelf in my kitchen.
Mike Turnage thinks he leaned up against the stove.
And I heard something pop.
Turning it on.
The flames were running up behind the stove and across the ceiling. So I went and turned the power off to the house first thing.
The first message he left, could barely breathe, and he was hollering, help me, help me. I thought he was having a heart attack. And then when I was trying to call 911, he called back and said his house was on fire.
Relatives rushed to the scene. His sister trembled, hoping to find him. Moments later, she did.
I just want to make sure he's all right.
A life saved, a livelihood in jeopardy.
I paint all night long.
Is the Rainbow Light canvas in there?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Those canvases are all over that house.
His whole life is in that house.
Basically everything I've ever painted since I was a kid.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
More than likely, the water and the fires damaged him. I don't know what's left.
That uncertainty didn't last long. His sisters, even the first responders, began rescuing his work piece by piece.
There comes another one. That's the one I think I was working on today.
Most of the pieces, fine.
You can just use soap and water and clean it up.
A few of them,
oh, I hate that thing got damaged.
Unsavable.
It's still smoking. It's still on fire.
From the ruins, one of his first paintings, untouched.
He was about 5 or 6 years old when he did this.
I'm thankful for the fact they saved what they did.
Proof you don't have to save a person to save a life.
I sure appreciate what you fellas done. I'm telling you.
I hate this happened to you, bud.
You're amazing, the work you've done. It's amazing. So I thought everything would be gone.
What we got? We accept a certain amount of risk when we do this job.
There are 2 fire departments working as one.
We work so closely together that we have to be familiar with each other's equipment.
Pelham Batesville and GSP International Airport fire departments work on the basics as part of Stand Down Week for firefighters. The international effort started 3 years ago.
To try to come up with ways to be safe and reiterate the safe practices that we already adhere to.
They even focus on their health.
About 50% of the firefighter fatalities nationwide are cardiac related.
But now they train with heavy hearts after 9 firefighters lost their lives in Charleston. They say they stand ready to help, but the tragedy also serves as a reminder the next time they have to enter a burning building.
And I just reminded my guys this morning to stand back, do a good risk-benefit analysis and make sure that the risk you're taking is worth the benefit.
So they'll continue to train.
Unfortunately, sometimes we can do everything right and still lose firefighters.
For the next time the alarm sounds.
The main thing, we want them to know that anything we can do, we stand ready to do.
Mark Allen, WYFF News 4, Spartanburg County.
To most, this is a place long passed by, often forgotten. But there are those in this world who look deeper to see what others can't.
These guys kind of came out of nowhere.
You can do it!
To some of them, this is a canvas.
And discovered a blank slate, decided to draw their own world on it.
A world born of sheer determination and lots of elbow grease.
What you see behind me is how it looked when we first got here, and we just kind of started moving stuff out of the way.
It took 4 solid months just to clear enough rubble away to be able to do this.
Once, we got the okay from, the right people, we just, I don't know, I guess it just started to kind of click, just kind of started to happen by itself.
We have some parks to go to, but there's no like city fund free public park, so this is kind of our city park.
Skaters from all over the state now come to this place, and they aren't the only ones.
It seems that like a lot of the neighborhood kids, like the smaller kids, will come and bring their skateboards and bring their bikes.
They've been a positive influence on the neighborhood, I believe.
A year ago, this was the only life around here. Now neighbors say that's far from true.
I'm glad they're there. It's something positive.
Honestly, it shows the creativity, like the creative aspect of it.
So in a place that could use a little hope, it now rolls freely.
Juan Garces may just look like another downtown tourist.
It's a beautiful city, man. It's just wonderful.
But he's really only interested in one downtown landmark.
Let's say right now, right? It'll take me just a couple of seconds.
You see, Juan is a paparazzo.
It'll take about 3 to 4 seconds to get the shot.
And all his waiting around pays off.
So far, what I got, like 15, 20,000.
That's what he's getting for candid photos of the Leatherheads cast.
The money and the action, I was meant to be a paparazzi.
And he's eager to cash in again, which brings him to Traveler's Rest today, where movie production is in full gear. But after scoping out the security,
I want to go different now, low key.
He's decided on a different approach.
This is the long distance. You could get it from really, really, really long ways.
And some different gear.
A paparazzi has to do what he has to do.
It may look extreme, but he says it's all just part of the job.
This is what we do. People think that, oh, just because you follow them and stuff like that. Well, they're celebrities. Celebrities should know that they, famous and they're going to get followed.
And so he heads into the woods to find a spot, but ends up getting spotted.
I guess I'm not going to be able to get any shots because the security guard here is telling me I can't go up there.
We're invited, you wouldn't need camouflage.
So what do you do now?
So now I just got to get the shots from the front,
Have you had a lot of people trying to sneak in?
Had quite a few, but that's it.
You just can't control destiny, man. You try to get a shot and sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. That's just how life works.
But that won't stop Juan from working to get that shot.
Peace.
In Traveler's Rest, J.L. Watkins, WYFF, News 4.
Click on JL.
My name is Andre Dunstan. I am a baseline engineer for Verizon Wireless.
Meet the network.
I'm a portion of the network. Okay, let's go ahead and go.
Andre is a road warrior. He's on the streets for Verizon Wireless, cruising the upstate and surrounding areas, making sure that their cell phone coverage is up to specs.
When you explain to people kind of what your job is, like somebody you never met before, and you tell them what you do, I mean, is that the first thing people are like, oh, you're like the, can you hear me now? Kind of person.
Usually that's just what I tell them, because then they instantly have an idea of what it is that I do.
And he's got all the fly gadgets. 2 mounted laptops, ride shotgun, and a trunk.
And here's the Camarco 7.5.
Full of top-of-the-line junk.
The system allows us to capture voice as well as data, information on the network. With voice, we are able to collect several different carriers in addition to ourselves.
No position change.
It's all very technical, so I try to lend a hand with a more low-tech approach. But one little cell phone definitely isn't as comprehensive as the software he has scanning the area.
We try to make sure a route is no more than 1 hour. Because of the size of the files, it'll get pretty big.
A lot of people, you know, they got their phone. Maybe they don't know that you're out here actually doing this. You're doing work for a lot of people.
Correct.
So now whenever I dial my cell phone, it'll be like Andre's right over my shoulder, keeping the signal going. For WIFF4.com, I'm J.L. Watkins.
Law enforcement is not a job you apply for to get a paycheck every 2 weeks. It's a calling.
You know, people ask about the brotherhood and what the brotherhood means of law enforcement.
And the long arm of the law is long and it's strong.
I am willing to lay my life down for you if I have to.
Because every scene that we go on, there's at least one gun there, the one we bring to it.
You're there to put yourself in between them and harm's way.
You know, you're taught from the very get-go that there are bad people out there that'll hurt you.
I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure that you and I both go home safe tonight.
That thin blue line runs really, really, really deep.
And that's what being a cop's about. When I first heard disbelief.
It's like a dream. It's just like a horrible dream.
As the sheriff, I can tell you that was probably the worst phone call I have ever received in my life.
I've been a police officer for just under 10 years. Tomorrow will be the worst day in my career.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something. I'd almost rather do anything but that.
Her worst nightmare, the children's worst nightmare, has come true.
None of this is easy.
Disbelief. You know it's true, but disbelief. You're numb. You don't know how to act. You don't know how to react.
There's nothing to cure this except time, and I don't think time will completely cure it.
It was a punch in the stomach, to say the least.
We're better people because we knew Kevin Carper.
He loved being a part of something bigger.
I can tell you that Kevin Carper was a Christian man.
He was a family man, loved his kids.
You can't have a bad family life and come to work as happy as Kevin was.
You knew he was there for you. He was a great backup.
He truly was different.
He was always there to the end.
He was just doing his job. He's doing what the citizens of this county pay him for. And I'm gonna tell you, Tuesday night, it's everybody in this department's worst fear come true.
But when this happens, it brings it face forward, and you realize that it could be you.
To see one of your own that has given the ultimate sacrifice. You know, if you ever wanted a description of a hero, he's right over my right shoulder. We have had responses from all over the country. Some of these guys have never even met Kevin Carper, yet they're grieving because we've lost a brother. Did Kevin Carper do anything wrong that night? Absolutely not. He was doing what he was trained to do.
Without hesitation, without thinking of his own safety, he went into a situation where he knew he had to do something. Without hesitation. That's a hero. He paid the ultimate price to protect someone else. That's a hero.
He walked through the front doors of the Spartanburg Downtown Airport and was greeted like a celebrity. 88-year-old Andrew Bates had come to take a ride. After a short taxi ride to the runway, Andrew saw what would take him airborne, a 2-passenger glider.
You're flying up front.
I will be up front.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll be.
Once inside the aircraft, an old crop duster fired up. And with the aid of a 200-foot rope, it pulled Andrew toward the heavens. They climbed and climbed to an altitude of 4,800 feet. Then it was time to set Andrew and his glider free.
It's a good smooth flight.
Andrew Bates has done this sort of thing before, although the circumstances were quite different. 63 years ago, he flew a British Horsa glider into Normandy on D-Day.
But it was a moonlight night. The air was smooth, and we did have some ground fire resistance.
Carrying 10 men, a jeep, and a trailer loaded with ammunition, he crashed his glider into some trees. One soldier was killed. When the Carolina Soaring Association heard his story, they invited him up.
He's one of our heroes who fought for our freedoms, and we should honor people like that.
This is his first time in a glider since that fateful night in 1944.
I haven't been in a glider since D-Day.
The ride brought a rush of memories, but Andrew showed no rust.
So I guess I am doing pretty good.
Doing really good.
He took the controls early on and didn't let up until it was time to touch down.
All right, I'll let you handle it from here on.
And unlike last time, this landing was picture perfect.
Oh boy, we're on the ground. Hey, 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 hey. I don't think I'm ready to get out. I'm ready to take another flight.
All right. You want to go again?
How about it?
From the beaches of Normandy to the skies over Spartanburg, an American hero still flying high, yet humble all the way.
I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the attention that you've given me.
Good job.
Okay, boys and girls, we'll start off Town Hall today with a very special project that we've done for Mr. James.
These children just learned a priceless lesson.
One of them gave me 3 pennies.
And so did the man who is so much more than just a fellow who cleans up after them. This day at Polo Road Elementary, $1 bought anybody the right to wear a hat to school.
And they know why they're bringing in that $1.
Start with the 5s. That's a good strategy.
They know why they've brought in their pennies.
And that hat day rose right off the ashes of this sad little piece of ground.
They're turning money in so we can help Mr. James out.
Formed a perfect fit around a lesson about family.
Maybe he can get a new house that way. When winter comes, he's going to be nice and warm.
The custodian, Mr. James English, just lived through a dark time.
His house burned down and we're trying to help him build a new one.
The fire that wrecked his mobile home turned nearly everything he had into this, and it taught him about the seismic power.
I feel good that we can give money to him.
That'll fit into some mighty small hands.
I think that speaks volumes for him, and I think it speaks volumes for our children, too.
Even the principal, Jane Fancher, learned fire is no match for children. Raising pennies with a lemonade stand or a bake sale.
That just came from them, from their heart.
Just because they love their friend.
To me, what a community is all about.
All the little kids out there, they're willing to help me.
And the morning after the fire broke his heart, Mr. James had family on his mind. He went to sit by his wife's grave for a while.
Back, 2005, I lost my wife. In fact,
then he came to school.
Yeah, I was back at work. I couldn't sit around.
The principal will never forget what he said.
I said, James, you need to take a couple of days at least and get things. And he said, no, y'all are my family. And he says, I need to be there.
Miss my place and all, but I feel better for me to be back to work and to be home. Walk, don't run.
And so he was. With the pennies and the nickels and all of it adding up, the children gave Mr. James more than $700 from that hat day alone.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Proving a few pennies can buy a man some happiness.
Kids, they love me and I love them. And I know as long as I'm around the kids and stuff, they keep me going.
As long as they come with the priceless feel of family.
Sister Mary Vianney makes this walk almost every day.
Okay, we'll wait here.
Otherwise, the world would simply pass her by.
I don't have a car to go anywhere.
And her window to freedom keeps getting harder to catch.
Either 8:20, 9:20, or 10:20. Then that one stops until about 3:30.
We wanted to experience what it's like for Sister Mary, so we followed her to 3 places she normally travels.
I'm telling everybody to pray that I say the right thing for the bus.
She's waiting for the 8:20 when Martin Lewis walks up.
Morning.
His mind is also on the bus.
They cut the Woodruff Road bus out. That means I would have had to get on the Pendleton Street bus, ride it all the way around until we got back downtown at 10:30. I wouldn't have gotten home until 1 o'clock that afternoon.
So far this time, everything is good.
Are you getting on?
The bus is right on time. Sister Mary decides to go to her doctor's office first. But before she can get there, she has to go to the transfer center downtown. After changing buses, she continues her journey to Augusta Street. She has a strategy.
If you don't concentrate, you can get the wrong bus.
Yeah, how hard is that, though, to get around on the system? How
You have to know what you're doing. They're going to get back on.
To get to her next location, she's got to change buses at the terminal again.
Okay, that's sweet. Ah, you got me on camera now.
Going to the place, she volunteers.
We're going to stop at Home Supply. Here we are.
That's my office.
Most of the time, she's watching the clock.
They said 14 after, but they've got a new driver, and I never saw that driver before.
She cuts the visit short to wait at the stop 10 minutes early.
We're not really waiting that long, but it seems like a long time. But you don't want to miss the bus.
Because if she misses it, another one won't be by for at least an hour.
Oh yeah, you have to watch your time. And you have to know where you're going. I need a transfer.
Heading to her third location again requires a trip to the downtown terminal. This time the bus passes right by Sister Mary's house on the way to Walmart.
I'm catching on to this. I don't mind it anymore. I'm used to it.
Now she's heading home, but first she's got to stop at, you guessed it,
Hello.
the terminal. And on her final bus of the day,
Hello.
she runs into Martin.
Oh, God, it seemed like it would take forever to get back. It's ridiculous.
Sister Mary isn't even home, and the 3 places she just went are just more than 10 miles and around a half hour by car. But it took 7 buses, 4 trips at the terminal, and 3 hours and 7 minutes.
My day is done on the bus.
More than 3 hours and 17 minutes after we first started, Sister Mary is home.
Sometimes city life can feel like lightning. It'll make you long for the country.
There are not many places you can go where there is silence.
Out where the living's a lot more like the lightning bug.
It has hardly been disturbed at all.
In the shadows of these Carolina mountains is a potter with a little studio nearly invisible in this place.
The first 10,000 that you make are the hardest.
Has taken one of life's great losses.
We were married 42 years.
And as if he could hold the grief in his hands, Don Lewis has turned it into a beauty no vessel will hold.
Oh, that's true love.
Sharing a secret no camera can quite see.
One of the most unique persons that ever has been.
His wife, Benny Lee Sinclair, became a South Carolina Poet Laureate for life in 1986 when she died in 2000.
No, she just loved this place so dearly.
She left Don with his grief. These 122 acres they both have loved.
Unless you see them, you cannot comprehend what it's like.
And that little secret they and only a few friends had enjoyed.
Tonight, there should be a pretty good show of the fireflies.
You see, as the days stretch out.
It's very spiritual, yeah.
Drift toward the warmer nights of early spring.
You got to see it to believe it.
A fairly rare little firefly.
It is surreal.
Comes out of the rich earth around here.
This is 32 years that I've watched these.
Because Walt Disney could never recreate this.
It's about half the length of a regular summertime lightning bug.
For just a few weeks, they speckle the dark by the thousands just off the ground.
The scientific name is Phausis reticulata.
And as much as a camera fails to catch their light.
Well, a lot of people call them the blue ghost fireflies.
The human heart.
And it gives me goosebumps.
Just won't let them go.
A kind of a weird phenomena that's going on.
The whole ground, the whole fourth floor just seems like it's on fire.
It's like a piece of your childhood fluttering around you.
I can see one!
I enjoy most having the kids come and see them. It just blows them away.
I saw one, Mom.
They so remind Dawn of the light of his life, her poetry and love of this place.
This is very special.
He started inviting more people to come and see that firefly show, take in the beauty of what it all has to say.
It's total silence. Everybody is just...
So maybe it's no surprise. Simply by sharing his place in the world in honor of his poet wife,
I'm fairly content.
The nearly lifelong potter has formed something priceless.
I'm pretty much at peace with the world.
The peace of a love affair, still warm.
This is where I belong.
Even after the lights have gone out.
Here we go, up on a housetop.
Behind that face of Christmas lives a man doing the New Testament job of Jesus.
Thank you, good Lord above.
A carpenter by trade.
He gives me the strength to carry him.
On a mission.
Good, looking good.
To show the true meaning.
I'm not the real Santa.
Of Santa Claus.
Junk good old Santa Claus. Every mornings when I wake up, I thank the Lord above, the talent He gave me to be able to use my hands. Wacky, wacky.
You see, because that whole 8 tiny reindeer thing just won't fly in the South.
This climate down here is too warm for him.
Mitch Mitchell got his hands on an old Ford van.
And I said, I want a motorized Santa Claus sled.
Labored on it out of love.
Make the children happy. It's amazing.
And now Father Christmas.
Here we go.
Drives one mama of a ride. Steers it straight into the dark of that Christmas rush.
It's a very cool sleigh. Santa Claus. I think it's fabulous.
This is unbelievable.
I think it's very modern. There's no even snow for the reindeer.
Hey, this is so much fun. It's like being in a parade.
So he's got to have wheels.
On the downtown streets of Greenville, Mitch will sell you a ride.
Won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
In that homemade Kris Kringle love wagon.
This is the best time of the year. If people really realize what Christmas is really all about.
And to watch where the money goes.
It's to give, not receive, just to be able to give love.
Just might cause a heart of bronze to believe.
Hey, ho, ho, ho!
Yes, honey, there is a Santa Claus.
Have you been extra good this year?
Every bit as real as those whiskers.
I think it's really real.
As real as the poor Mitch Mitchell holds in his heart.
Got to have love for people. And that's what Jesus gives, is love.
Santa.
Through the Buncombe Street United Methodist Church, where he works as a carpenter, Mitch gives all that ride money and his own labor to a mission that helps a tiny village in Mexico.
Particularly the children.
The Reverend Jerry Hill has seen what Santa's generosity can do.
Dad and 5 children who were living in a shack, dirt floor shack, all sleeping in the same bed. They now have a clean, decent place to live.
All right, way to go. Tell Santa what you want for Christmas. Anything?
And perhaps because the faces of Christmas don't always wear a smile.
Look at Mama. Look at Mama.
The times call for a bearded man.
It doesn't matter whether they're young or old.
Oh, jingle bells.
On a road.
You know, just see the children's faces all light up. And
bound for some people.
Merry Christmas.
Who just need some Santa love.
Bye-bye, darling.
From a carpenter.
I'll see you soon.
Just wonderful.
With a license.
I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas.
To Claus.
Oh,